Audio?
Mm-hmm. It's recording, right? What happened to my
Yeah, we're recording now.
what happened to my focus? Oh, there I go. Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. We got Ace and Malik.
What's
What's
going
going
on,
on?
man? What's not much, man. Sorry, I've been MIA for a little
Eh,
bit for
you
the
know.
last couple of weeks. Uh, I don't know. It feels like this time of year just always catches up to me in terms of either just getting sick or Thanksgiving, family stuff. Like it always winds up catching up to me. But I'm back for the stretch run.
And that's what's important. Now, how do
Unlike
you
unlike my team, unlike my team, I'm back for the stretch run. So.
speaking of which, how do you feel about America's team, the Detroit Lions?
I mean, I had a feeling we weren't going to win last week. I had a yesterday's game, in
Really?
LA, tough game. I mean, in LA, tough game, tough atmosphere. LA's a really good team. Had been playing really well at the time. So the fact that we lost, and when I looked at the schedule, or when I looked at just basically what we needed to do to win. I mean, in
Mm,
order to make the playoffs, we could afford one more. I obviously didn't want us to lose. We could afford one more loss, and if it had to
mm-hmm.
come in, if it came in that situation, they played hard. Had to lead there for a minute, so it was back and forth offensively. Rams just got hot, so you know it feels weird being in this position over the last 3 seasons, 2 or 3 seasons we've been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's not. I'm not surprised at this point. Still a little bit. And I still have an opportunity to get in. Dallas lost again, so now they're out.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, it's interesting how I think the thing I'm most interested in is one. I would love for us to be able to continue to have a winning season. So I don't want us to lose. Um, you
You're
know,
definitely going to win 10 games. It's really, I think, going to come down to
yeah,
that last game, unfortunately, between y'all and Chicago, which I
yeah.
was hoping wouldn't
So
happen. But because the Bears won yesterday, because they beat Philly, I think it's a very real possibility that. See, I was counting on you guys to beat the Rams because then they would have to knock off Seattle or San Francisco. I think they got to play one of those teams again because then it would cause one of them to cannibalize each other. Therefore, three teams from the NFC North would get it.
yeah, I mean, I'm. It looks like it'll be 2-2. Two teams from each of those divisions will get in, and so it'll
Okay.
come down, but it'll come down to and then Green Bay just lost. Even though they won their game, they just lost one of their best players. So
No, Green Bay
you
didn't win their game. Green Bay lost to Denver. I can't believe Green Bay was
Oh,
favored in
right,
that
right, right. I'm sorry. Yes, Green Bay did lose to
which was
Denver, and
which was crazy to
they
me.
lost Micah, so that could really hurt them too. So
Yeah, and they
they
got to
could
come to
fall off.
Chicago next week.
Yeah. So there's still a lot that's kind of in our favor at this point. So I think that I saw that after we lost, our chances of making the playoffs was still like 40%, which just means that we can still get in, but we just need a little bit of help. And
Yeah,
luckily, we still got games against a game against you guys at the end of the season, and the next two games are against Pittsburgh and Minnesota, who we should be
oh
favored
yeah.
by. Though one of those is on the road, so
You know what that means? If y'all beat Minnesota, if y'all beat Pittsburgh, all Baltimore has to do is win out, which they can easily do, and then they get into the
which they can do.
playoffs.
And they play Pittsburgh. Don't they play Pittsburgh one more time?
I'm not sure. I'm going to be honest. If they do, then that's even worse. But I thought they only played
Yeah,
them.
they played. They played the Steelers. Week 18 they played the Steelers.
Oh, in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come down to that game. Okay, we'll see if Lamar can get it done. Because right now it's looking like it's just going to be not Mahomes. It's just going to be Josh Allen in the playoffs by himself, and nobody else who's really been there before contending. Which
Yeah,
the crazy part to me is the AFC, just the AFC in general with the quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence is looking like the best quarterback in the AFC.
it's a weird year. I think it's a weird year altogether, man.
Yeah,
It's just It's just been a really odd year. The one thing that I will say that has
Mm.
yeah, this has kind of been the staple of the entire season for me
Mm-hmm.
is at the beginning of the year, schedules have held. And what I mean by that is at the beginning of the year, when you looked at a lot of the schedules of the teams that people were identifying that had the easiest schedule, quote unquote,
Yeah.
are all have really, really good records at this point. And that's typically not this, not the case because, coming into the season, you look at the schedule and you say to yourself, oh, well, they can't be, everything's based off of previous year's information. So,
Yeah.
how easy is it to determine that? Well, coming into the season, the conversation was that San Francisco had a really good schedule, New England had a really good schedule, Chicago had a really good schedule, and they all those three
Seattle
teams.
as well.
Seattle had a really good schedule, and all those teams have taken full advantage of, relatively softer schedules. Whereas teams like Kansas City,
Yeah.
Philadelphia, Detroit, um,
Dallas, I would say.
and yeah, and even
And
Buffalo had
and Tampa.
all and Tampa had all tough schedules that were like ranked in the top, and those are the teams that are faltering, that are like either out of the playoffs already or just struggling to get in. So it's made itself out to be a really interesting season where teams that you didn't expect to be at this point, number one seeds or whatever, are holding true. So that's why a team like the Bills at this point you have to say they're the favorites to come out of the AFC. They would be. I mean, or Denver, right? And nobody would have said that,
Yeah.
earlier this season. So
That to me is the biggest shock. Is
Denver,
that yeah, because Bo Nix's best game was yesterday. Before that, he had been playing pretty average to bad through most of the
yeah,
games, which is why they had to have that comeback against the Giants a couple of weeks ago, or so early in the season at this point, because I believe that was the game that Cam Scatterboo scored a passing touchdown, a running touchdown, or a receiving touchdown.
mm-hmm.
Because I had him on my fantasy team way back when. But like, it has been their offense has not been what's up at all year, and it's kind of shocked me that they have even gotten this far. You know,
Mm.
it's just kind of I don't know. I'm shocked that the defense has been able to carry them this much. Seattle won a game yesterday by not even scoring a touchdown, in which they gave
Yeah.
up a touchdown to a 44-year-old quarterback,
Hey
which
man, like it makes
who
us
was
old guys feel good, man. To me,
who was shot putting the ball down the field 5 6 yards at a time, and it was working.
that's always how
It's
he threw,
crazy
though,
to me.
right? So
I forgot that. Forgot how weird his release was.
his arm release has always been a weird one. Um, Man, it made me feel good to see him out there playing. It
It
made me feel
did.
good to watch him play.
That was motivating to you.
I not motivating, but it was like, you know, it's one of those things where I mean, and I remember people conversating about even with Aaron Rodgers watching him play right now. The conversation about like even at an advanced age,
Can't
these
say
guys can still throw the football, right?
it's not the
Like
throwing part; it's the
the
moving away
problem
from the
isn't
rush.
right. Yeah, the problem isn't the throwing. The problem is can they avoid the rush? Can they moving around in the pocket? Can they take a hit? You
Yeah.
know, but if you keep I think this goes to show, right? If you keep your quarterbacks upright and
Mm,
playing, you can get longevity out of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And if they develop themselves to a point where they're not reliant solely on athleticism or strong arms or whatever,
hmm
you can develop a quarterback and have a guy well into his 40s
Come on.
still playing for you. You
You thought
know,
that was a good idea? That play Rivers?
no. I didn't think it was a
Okay.
good idea, and I don't, and I truly don't think that it would have been something that any other team would have done
Well, the Jets did
in
it when
that
they brought back
situation.
Testaverde. Remember when he was 46 years old?
Oh
Was
yeah,
he
maybe yeah,
46?
yeah.
Yeah, they brought back Testaverde. I was like, this
I
guy played
mean,
college football in the 80s. It was like 2007, 2009, and he played. I was like, this is
yeah,
crazy.
and I mean, like I guess it feels like everything had to line up perfectly, right?
Yeah,
Philip Rivers wasn't was Steichen. I think they said Steichen
the
was like
OC
offensive,
or offensive assistant in
coach or something
San
like
Diego.
that
Yeah,
in San Diego. So he has that familiarity with him.
they wouldn't
Um,
listen. There are three people they could have called realistically, right? Okay, RG3, Cam Newton, and Tyler Heineke, who aren't on rosters, who are at least within the range of being under 38 years old,
okay,
and similar skill sets to Daniel Jones. That's
I
all.
would have
That's
it.
all.
Okay, okay. So of those three, which
Yeah.
one do you think
Honestly,
had the most like
if you'd
as
told
of the
me if you told me RG3 was getting up off the couch to go play, I'd be like, I mean, it's not a great idea, but it's not the worst idea.
no, but hear me out. Based on the last time you saw them play,
Hmm.
right? And the last time we saw Philip Rivers, which granted it was 5 years ago, it was like pre-pandemic or
But
something
it
like that.
wasn't. No, it was during the pandemic, and it was in the playoffs. It was the
Or was that
2020 season.
pandemic season?
It was the pandemic season. He got him to the
Yeah.
playoffs, and then he retired, and then they brought in Matt Ryan, and then the year after that they brought in uh,
No, that
Carson
was when they
Wentz.
drafted. That's when they drafted Anthony, right? Didn't they draft Anthony
No,
Richardson in 22?
nah, they brought but he was in 2020, and then the year after was Brent Ryan, and then the year after that was Carson Wentz, and then they finally drafted Anthony Richardson. It was 2022 or 23. 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so just basing it on that, basing on the last image that I saw of Cam Newton, the last images that I saw of Heineke in Atlanta, I believe was the last time I remember seeing him. And then the
Hmm.
last time we saw RG3
In
and
Baltimore.
compare that
Yeah.
to Philip Rivers, who, they probably all looked equally as bad, as bad. And then there was also that whole thing about him running the Colts offensive system in with his high school team or something like that he was
Come on,
coaching
man.
too. So it was like it was like it was just too easy. Yeah,
It
I
was.
probably would have. I probably would have made it an open competition. I probably would have invited multiple guys in there and just saw who was the best. That probably would have been the route that I would have went. But
I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
lie.
hey,
Yeah.
they went that way and they almost won the game.
I was glued to that game just to see what he could do. I was like, is he gonna really hurt himself, or is he just gonna? And he got out there, and he was like, oh, he got out the way. He could actually still moderately do this. It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't terrible. We didn't see a guy just get his, spleen broken on camera. He can actually get out the way and make a pass here and there. It wasn't terrible. But Riley
Yeah,
Leonard
no,
has,
he
got to
wasn't.
get
He
help.
wasn't at all.
If they could just block a little bit better, Jonathan Taylor might have been able to give him something, and they could have won that game. Yeah. The
Yeah,
shocking
I
thing
mean,
to me was the Bears' defense.
you were shocked at how good it played.
They intercepted him 4 times.
It
They
was.
There was an
It's
interception.
still
There
a
was an
rookie
interception where
quarterback.
he ripped the ball out of the receiver's hands as he was running by.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look, it's still the
One of the like
Browns, and it's still the
understood.
Browns, and it's still a rookie quarterback of the
Yeah,
Browns.
yeah.
So
But the ball
I
was
can't
in the
say that I'm
man's hands, and he just
surprised.
took it out and then intercepted it in the end zone.
Look,
Crazy.
the defense has been pretty good. I mean, especially during this most recent stretch. I mean,
Yeah,
I watched that game. I watched. I can't say that I watched the full Bears Browns game, but I did watch last week's game when you guys played the Packers.
yeah,
And not for nothing, your defense kept you in that game.
yeah.
Against a really good Packers team at the time. So, I was pleasantly surprised at the output that defense showed. But that's where your money's been spent for the last 3 seasons. So I'm not surprised too much because
Yeah.
the guys that you brought in, you spent well on that side of the ball. So I'm not surprised when a good team, which the Bears are,
Oh,
beats the brakes off of a bad team.
giving us some respect. Okay, I appreciate that. It's about time.
Yeah,
About
I
time you
told
put some
you I was.
respect on my team's name.
I told you I was waiting for them to have to play a big game in a big spot in a big situation,
Yeah.
and they hadn't for a while. And then they went to Philly, and when they got that win in Philly, I said, "All right, I'm giving them credit because the Lions went to Philly and were not able to generate offense against that Philly defense, and lost that game despite playing pretty well defensively against them." And Chicago went into Philly, and I did not think that the Bears would go into Philly and be able to,
Just
handle.
run them down. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to happen, and it happened. I said, okay, all
Yeah.
right, from now on, now you won't hear anything from me. Now they lost again the next week against Green Bay, but again, that's that's a
They were at
division.
Green
Yeah,
Bay and they lost
that's
by
a
seven.
division game on the road. A lot of things, and it wasn't like the game was a blowout. It was close the whole time. So,
True.
yeah. So that's why I know we're not picking next week's games yet, but when we get to picking next week's games, first off, I'll be surprised if the Bears aren't favored, which they should be. I don't know what the look ahead is right now,
They're
but
playing. Oh no, they're gonna. Well, I
it's in
think they're gonna be
Chicago.
getting points. It's in
It's in
Chicago,
Chicago.
but they're playing Green Bay. I think they're gonna be getting.
Yeah,
If I had to put it, I'd say Chicago's gonna be getting 3 points.
I would be surprised if the number's that high.
Yeah, because Green Bay already beat them, right? And they beat them kind
Yeah,
of
but this is but
even though they
but
lost
this
Micah,
is.
even still, like they're still a good team.
I'm gonna see what the look ahead is right now on Sports Line.
But yeah, I expect them just to be favored just because, like they didn't kind of just. The Bears were only favored by 7 points against the Browns. The Browns have won 3 games. The Browns were 3-10. The Bears were 9-4. They were 7 point favorites at home. Okay,
Yeah, but
they
that
showed
was
the Seahawks were plus 13, were minus 13 against the Colts just because they were bringing an old quarterback. They won that game by 2 points.
so right now. The look ahead on Sports Line has Green Bay favored by 1.5 in Chicago.
There you go.
Yeah, right at 1.5. But I wouldn't be surprised if that. Look, I guess it depends on how the betting goes. I wouldn't be surprised if that goes down to a pick.
Mm.
To me, that's how much respect we should be putting on the Bears at home right now. Doesn't mean that they'll win in the playoffs. That's a whole different situation unless they win the division. But I think at home right now against a Packers team that just lost Micah Parsons for the season, I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if that's a pick 'em.
maybe
So
if enough money comes in on Chicago. But I can see a lot of people around the country betting on Green Bay because for whatever reason they don't believe in Caleb Williams, considering that he lit up one of the better defenses in the league. Like they damn near shut Cleveland out, and they put up 31 on him. And he made there were a couple throws in there that were really impressive that I did not expect him to be able to make.
yeah,
But he
and a
just they
Cleveland team
taking
that beat
chances.
that beat a Cleveland team that beat Green Bay in Green Bay.
Correct
So
with Joe
so
Flacco earlier in the year,
right.
who I'd like to point out still has more passing yards than any Jets quarterback on the season. And I think he's only played like 8 games and didn't join. But I just wanted to say that for everybody who's paying attention, Joe Flacco still has more passing yards than any Jets quarterback on the season. 2,400. 2,400
Speaking of
passing
which,
yards.
it's a good question.
Yeah.
Do you think that Caleb Williams, who's at 3,150 passing yards right now, do you think he finally breaks the no 4,000 yard passer in Chicago Bears history?
Is he going to throw for 900 yards in the next 4 games?
3 games.
Three
3 games.
games? No, he's not going to throw for 900 yards. The offense isn't even designed like. I don't think he had a great game last week, and he threw for 270, and he had 2 or 3 touchdown passes.
I'm just going to see his game
No,
high so far this season is what? Let me see.
it's like 310.
His
I want
game
to
high.
say there's no way. The offense isn't even designed that way. If he
All right,
throws
he
for
hasn't he
300 yards
hasn't
in a
he hasn't
game, that would be
broken
shocking.
he hasn't broken 300 yards so far this season. His game high is 298 against
Watching, yeah.
298 against the Cowboys in Week 3.
If he Let me put it like this: if he has to throw for 340 yards, then that means that we weren't able to run the ball. And as you know from your team last year, Ben Johnson likes to run the ball, as do the
Mm-hmm.
Lions like to run the ball, even with Dan Campbell, who's calling the offensive plays now. So whoever, so that's how we were able to beat Philadelphia. They came in thinking, oh, we'll just make them run, see if they can beat us. And the Bears ran on them to the tune of 240 yards. DeAndre Swift had 98 rushing yards. Kyle Monangai had 50. So 150 rushing yards. And then he threw for 270 on Cleveland. They can do that to Cleveland at home, but it wasn't like -8 degrees or whatever it was. They should be able to do that um, without Micah Parsons in there. Although I'm pretty confident that, they're going to be pretty locked in. And also, unfortunately, Christian Watson also got hurt. That's really going to hurt their chances next week. Now that I'm even
Yep.
looking more ahead. But I'm just happy to the fact that I said Chicago was a 9-10 win team, and they have won 10 games. So my prediction for the season has already come true. The only thing that's messing me up is that if Aaron Rodgers keeps winning these games, he's kind of going to guarantee that Pittsburgh doesn't have a losing season. And I said that he was going to mess up Mike Tomlin, so who knows? But if Detroit and the Ravens come through, he could still mess it up and still lose 8 games and go
Yeah. Well,
nine
they're
and
gonna
eight,
win this.
miss the
This is
playoffs.
eight. This is eight. This is gonna be eight. They're gonna win tonight.
Eight and
It's
six.
28-3.
Yeah.
So they'll be 8-6, and then they'll finish the season in Detroit. How they finish the season? Let me take a look at their schedule. In Detroit, at Cleveland, and then
Uh,
against, and then at home against Baltimore.
if they lose to Cleveland, that would be pretty something. That would be pretty amazing. Because that would mean that Shador Sanders is beating the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 17 of the season, which would be amazing. They'd build a statue of him outside. He's already selling more jerseys than Baker Mayfield, which is kind of nuts to me, considering that man won a playoff game. And speaking of
Nah, I'm not
which,
surprised.
there's no
Yeah.
team that appears to actually want to win the NFC South. I can't believe that. I don't know if you saw the end of the Panthers game, but I was watching the game recap. There was a roughing the passer call at the end of the game. It just kind of ruined it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Then New Orleans gets the ball back, goes and kicks a field goal and win the game. They were up 17-7 the entire time. And then also on top of that, Tampa lost on Thursday Night Football to Atlanta at home. So those two terrible teams are tied at 7-7, but
Yeah.
they get to play each other to see who's actually going to decide to try to win this. So we'll see.
And this is the reason why, and I keep saying this is the reason why divisions should just go away.
Why?
Because
You want to get
we're
a
gonna
chance to
get
play
another
the Saints at
playoff.
the end of the year?
I'm just saying we're gonna get another playoffs
Mm-hmm.
where, in all likelihood, we're gonna have a team in there with a home game in the playoffs and playing against a team that is markedly better than them.
Sometimes
And
you just get a sorry team in the playoffs.
well, it's just what I'm saying is just reset the playoff seeding. That's all. Reset the playoff seeding. To me, higher seed. It's a new. Everybody talks about how the playoffs is a brand new season. Reset the seeding. Just base it on record. That's it.
Nah,
Um,
no. Divisions
but
matter.
they don't. They
And
don't.
speaking of divisions, they need to bring back divisions in college football because then we wouldn't have this mess in the SEC and in the Big Ten and in the ACC.
Every
But that's a
sport
whole
has
side
shown
issue.
you. Every
Divisions
sport so
matter in
far.
football.
Every sport has shown. Every other sport has basically said to hell with divisions.
Yeah.
Either through their schedule, like they don't. It's not that the divisions don't exist; they exist, but nobody cares about them. Nobody cares if the Knicks won the. Nobody cares if the Knicks win the Atlantic Division. They
I
care
still
about the
don't know the reason.
Eastern
Yeah,
Conference playoffs.
I don't know what divisions function in basketball. I have no idea.
Yeah, and nobody cares.
I
Like
never understood that.
The AL East is a division that people care about because in baseball, it's because we keep it up, we keep it afloat. It has nothing to do with like.
Talking about Yankees, Red Sox, Orioles.
Yes, Yankees Red Sox keeps it afloat, keeps the entire division afloat. If the Yankees Red Sox was not a rivalry, nobody would care about Yankees Rays. Like nobody cares about Rays Orioles. Nobody cares about Toronto and anybody else in that division. They care about them as it pertains to the league, the American League or the National
Yeah.
League. So the same thing holds with basketball. even
Hmm.
hockey. You know, it's conferences. It's
Oh
East
no, in
versus
hockey it
West.
actually matters. You have to win your division. If you're the best
No, no,
team in your
no.
division, you get to buy to the you get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there aren't stakes. I'm saying that from the standpoint of the bragging rights of winning your division,
Mm.
that doesn't
I mean,
matter anymore. Football's the only one that really still matters. Like the fact that the
yeah,
NFC East is still people still talk about the NFC East like it's like winning your division actually means something. But it doesn't. It really doesn't. It
well,
really
but
doesn't. It's just
listen,
that's what
if y'all
annoys me
hadn't
about it.
if y'all hadn't lost in the divisional round, it would have meant a lot because then Philadelphia would have been going to Detroit instead of Philadelphia at
Well,
home against Washington.
right, but that has nothing to do with us winning the division. We were the one seed. You know what I'm saying? So like that's what I
Yeah,
mean. You're the one seed. You get the host. You get the host, and you get the bye, and you get the host.
yeah, you
But it
get
has
all of
nothing.
it.
If with the playoffs last year, Tampa would have had to go to Washington to play that game,
All right.
and they probably still would have got beat either way. They probably still would have got beat, but Tampa would have had to go to Washington to play that game. Minnesota would have hosted the Rams because they had the
Mm,
better record.
I think they should
Matter
know,
of
but I
fact, I
like
think
the fact that
Minnesota had like the second best record or something like that.
they did because they won 13 games and y'all won 15
Yeah.
because y'all beat them at the end of the season. But we're focusing on
So
the here and now. Divisions
yeah,
matter, and they matter because you want to be the best. Like when it
they
was
matter
five
because
teams
we
in a
say they
division, it was
matter.
better. No, because
They matter because we say
it's
they
how it's
matter.
always been done. So what you're telling me is
Exactly.
like
That doesn't mean that doesn't
get rid of the
just be
rivalries.
just because it's how you've always done it does not mean it's how you should do it. That's all I'm saying.
Y'all don't want a chance to take down Green Bay and to take down Minnesota, who's been giving y'all the blues this whole time.
I don't. You could keep. What I'm saying is you could keep divisions in play, but
Okay,
but
just go
reset the
by based off
playoffs
record.
in the playoffs in the
This is how I
playoffs.
know. This is how I know you're a college football fan. You just want to keep changing the rules.
No, it's one rule. It's one fucking rule. It's one rule, Ace.
No buys for the conference champions. Conference champions don't matter. Just the four best teams. And then what ends
Hey,
up
look,
happening?
look. My
JMU and
my issue with
both get it.
look, my issue with college football has always stood best record,
Mm,
best record. Give it to them, but they don't. But they play an unbalanced schedule in college, which is the problem that I have
yeah,
with it. Hey,
yeah.
I
And
had
in
a
the
theory
NFL,
about.
everybody gets to play everybody.
What do you mean in the NFL? No, they
Yeah,
don't.
everybody gets to play. Well, you get to play everybody reasonably within your conference. You get more
Right.
conference games, and most teams play people in their conference.
Which is why I think that they should. I think that they should. That would be a
It's
crazy
more
change.
logical. Yeah.
No, that would be a crazy change if they did the NFL if they did the NFL schedule like they do the baseball schedule
Oh,
where
so it's
you
just all NFC and
where
AFC.
where everybody plays everybody in the 16, so because it's 16 game, right? So it's 16 teams in each conference, right?
Yeah.
So you would have 15 games. You would have to play everybody in your conference, and then you'd have two games outside of your conference against two teams that ended up with the same record or the same level as you. That would even the playing field because that would force.
Yes, but then the Lions would have been playing the Kansas City Chiefs this year, and I
They
forgot
already
who they
did.
played. I forgot who did they play in the AFC Championship game. Was it
Who
Baltimore?
the Chiefs played?
Yeah,
The
who did the
Chiefs
Chiefs play last year?
the Chiefs played Buffalo.
So you guys would have played Buffalo and Kansas City,
Yeah,
and then every other team in the NFC,
yeah.
and you're okay with that?
I would have been fine with that
All
because
right,
at least you know why
we'll
the
send it on
reason
to
why
Raj. Let's see what he could do.
the reason why I'd be fine with it if they never will, but if they ever did it that way, the reason why I'd be fine with it is because you always have that litmus test. You would always be able to say, you know, that the Bears had to play the Rams during the season, and we saw that game. They didn't have to play them
Well,
this year,
no,
right?
because our two games are based off teams who were bad, and unluckily for us, San Francisco was bad last year,
Right.
so we get San
So
Francisco and
right.
Philadelphia because
So
we're
to me,
playing
it
every
flat.
team in the NFC East. We just happen to beat every team in the NFC East.
Yeah, it flattens. Well, I'm saying it flattens the. If you do it that way, it flattens the odds, or it flattens the records because everybody would have to play everybody at least once. And the only variance that you would
Mm.
have is in those out of conference games, which really don't matter all that much anyway, in the grand scheme of things, as it pertains to your record and your seeding. So I mean, but you can't. But they wouldn't do that because that would completely eliminate division play
Mm.
altogether.
Well, what was the most shocking thing that happened this week, in your opinion?
Uh, the most shocking thing,
Yeah,
aside from all the injuries
actually, yeah, there were, and also I didn't
and
know that
the
JJ Watt got his lung punctured by getting acupuncture.
yeah,
That was crazy.
yeah, and he had to have that surgery. Yeah,
I thought that was
um,
legitimately going to affect this game because they weren't going to have a good pass rush, but it did not.
yeah. So I would say, aside from all the injuries, the one result that shocked me the most was probably the Chargers beating the Chiefs. Probably the fact that not the fact that the Chargers beat the Chiefs, but the fact that the Chiefs are
Huh.
out of the playoffs and there's still 3 games left to play.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
them falling out of the playoff picture, you know, is something that, although I probably could have envisioned it coming into the season, there was no way
Okay.
that I could have envisioned it coming into the season this early. Like, to me, that would have been
Oh,
a
you didn't see them being knocked out until the end of it. Yeah.
yeah, it would have been a last game of the season type of situation where they drop something, where they drop a game or whatever in that last divisional game. So with
As
them
soon as
being
they,
bounced
yeah,
out this early, that's
yeah.
the thing that's probably shocked me the most.
Them losing to Jacksonville the way that they did let me know that they were really in trouble. When that happened, I
Hmm.
was like, oh, this might be it. This might be the year that they don't get that far. The fact that they're not even in the playoffs is, I mean, they had a 3-year run of going to 3 straight Super Bowls. They won 2 in a row. They lost the third.
Yeah,
You know, they're not beating the bad teams this year. That's just what it is. To me, I would say it was the shutout. It wasn't the shutout of Philadelphia because Philadelphia was playing Vegas. Vegas is the worst team in the NFL. It was that shutout game. That was kind of insane.
Cincinnati and
Um,
Baltimore.
yeah, Baltimore shutting out Cincinnati. Joe Burrow played his worst game of the season. They completely dominated them from start to finish. I was not expecting that. I don't think anybody was. Just the fact that
No,
they were able to that blowout along with second most was really San Francisco did the Titans keep getting better. Like they were giving them 12 and a half points. That team lost by 13. I took the
yeah,
Titans because it was just too many points, but like San Francisco doesn't really look that good. When they've played good teams, they've been squeaking by. They've just had a very soft schedule. But that
yeah,
that shutout by Baltimore let me know like if they can maintain that level of focus to shut out an offense like the Bengals, they will be a problem in the playoffs. Yeah, San Francisco lost to Jacksonville. San Francisco lost to Tampa. They lost to Houston. You know,
does it speak more to?
their
I mean,
four
the,
game
this
win
thing the
streak is
Jets.
Arizona, Carolina, Cleveland, and Tennessee.
Who's that?
San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco's had the easiest schedule in the league.
Wow, they have such a soft schedule. They really do. Yeah,
They've had the easiest schedule in football.
we're probably gonna beat them. I'm not even talking shit. That's actually true.
Yeah, it's
Sorry, you were saying something.
no, I would say no. That's not. It's not shocking though at all that they've had it a bit of a cakewalk, which has helped them because they've been one of the most injured teams in the NFL too, right? So
Yeah,
the fact that it's kind of balanced out, but they're a good team. Um, no, what I was asking was the result in Cincinnati. It felt like that was more bad Bengals than good Ravens. The Ravens were good.
but he
Defensively,
threw
they were
three
great.
interceptions though,
Yeah. Um,
and two of them were his fault.
Yeah. The biggest shock was just after seeing how well they played on offense since Burrow's been back, and then watching them crater. You just didn't expect that, especially at home. Um, you didn't expect that, but I I expected Baltimore to win, and I guess that's probably why I wasn't too surprised. The shutout itself was the thing that was most surprising.
Yeah, it's like I had Pittsburgh winning this game. Am I shocked that they only gave up one touchdown? No, not really. But if you told me
Yeah,
Baltimore, like the fact that Baltimore gave up zero is more like it's more of that.
yeah,
But sometimes it just
exactly.
goes that way. And Derrick Henry didn't even score a touchdown, and he had 100 yards on 11 carries,
Mm-hmm.
which shows me that they're focused again. Whatever loss of focus they had, they've gotten it back because they realize it's in their hands to still go and win and get into the playoffs. A 10-win season is still very much on the table. 10-7 is available to them. Patrick Queen. He was on that LSU team, wasn't
Who
he? Queen. He was on that LSU team in 2019.
the linebacker?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just trying to make sure. Oh, he coaches for the Hurricanes. His alma mater should try to hire him. Anyways, so they're showing Jason Taylor on the Manning cast. Unless that's it, what else are we gonna recap? Oh, college football playoff. I
Yeah.
picked the U to win it at the beginning of the year. I said that they were back kind of early, and they lost 2 games in a row, but they got it anyway. Who do you have winning the championship?
Uh, I don't want to say Indiana because I think everybody says Indiana is like well because of the
No one's
West
picking
because of,
Indiana, actually.
but because how well they played against in that game against Ohio State. Nobody expected them to beat Ohio State, and the way they did it in very much Indiana fashion, which is why I think people are high on them. I do, however, think that they get to the semifinals. Um,
Okay, they're gonna win one game, yeah.
yeah, I do think they get to the semifinals.
Well, they're
So
okay.
the most intrigued. So my pick right now is Ohio State, but
Wow.
but the team I want to see go all the way through, I want to see Oregon.
Well,
I want to see Oregon go all the way through. Oregon is a really exciting team. I've watched a few of their games this year. They're a really fun team to watch, and I'd like to see them go all the way through. But
I've always
my
been
pick,
an undercover Oregon fan.
who's that? Yeah, I've always liked Oregon. I think they're a fun team. You know,
Yeah.
but I think Ohio State, they're the ones. That Ohio State Georgia game will be very interesting if
Yes.
that's a semifinal game.
I'm rooting for Tulane because I need them to beat Ole Miss because I don't want Lane to get a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't like that guy. I don't like what he's about. I don't like what he stands for. He had a
Who's your
team that was
mom?
could Lane Kiffin.
Who? Well, don't talk about my coach now.
Whatever, man. You didn't want him to be your coach. You did
I
not want
don't.
that man as your coach.
I don't care. I don't
You're
care.
like,
He's a
nah, they
lifer.
hired him.
He's a college
Lifer.
football lifer. So
Oh,
I'll take it.
okay. Wait till he has one good season with LSU, and then all of a sudden the NFL comes calling again. He'll be coaching Tampa Bay in a heartbeat. Watch.
Look, as
He'll
long
be
as he
down
doesn't
there
go
in
to
Tampa right after they
Alabama,
fire Todd Bowles.
as long as he doesn't leave LSU to go to Alabama or Tulane or I'm sorry or Auburn, I'm fine.
It's
Or
not gonna happen.
Georgia.
So just 3 schools. I think y'all are paying him enough. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, 13 a
Uh,
year.
I'm just rooting against Mississippi. Yeah, the University of Mississippi. I'm not even gonna call them Ole Miss. How dare they? The Rebs. But Oklahoma is likely going to beat Alabama, so you can revel in that. And I like Indiana's chances against Oklahoma, considering
Yeah,
Oklahoma's hosting Alabama. Indiana should, I think, I think Indiana's going to be playing in the national championship against either Georgia or Miami, because I think Miami's going to beat Texas A&M. Because Texas A&M, after they played Texas, and they got They got roughed up on that line. That lets me know that that can happen, and that can happen consistently. And that
So
Ruben Bain kid,
you think Miami beats Ohio State then?
yes.
Interesting.
And you know why? Because if Indiana can beat Ohio State, Miami can definitely beat Ohio State.
Okay.
Carson
I'm
Beck
not
is a
saying that
better
they could. I
quarterback
just
than
yeah.
Fernando Mendoza. That's just my opinion. At least
Okay.
I've been paying attention to most of these teams. I want to see JMU do well, but if JMU wins, everybody
That
will
would
lose their mind. The
that would shock the entire NCAA world. And
hey
it would,
man, like
but it would be funny because it would probably validate the committee.
it will
And
validate Kurt Signetti. They might get an invite to the ACC after this.
yeah,
Who knows? They might be in the Big 12 and shit next year. It'll be the Big 18 for all we know. Who knows? They're like, we could use a team in Virginia. Can y'all hoop? We got a
oh
basketball
my
conference
god.
too. Would have put
Do
it
you
past
think
them.
Notre Dame should have
No,
accepted a bowl?
actually, I take that back. Notre Dame should have been in. Alabama should be home.
I agree with that.
You can't. We're talking about them like they're a real contender. They've lost 3 games, and they got the brakes beat off of them in the SEC title game. Like it didn't matter. Of course it matters. You can't just sit there and get destroyed and act like this doesn't make a difference at all, and not do nothing. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Hmm.
You can't do that. That's not what we're doing out here. And I think they're going to lose to Oklahoma. Didn't they lose to Oklahoma earlier in the year? That's why Oklahoma's in because they beat
Yeah.
Alabama.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just a rematch. And their quarterback, Ty Simpson, guess what? Not as good as Jalen Milrow. So I don't know what they're doing, but this ain't it. I feel bad for Kalen DeBoer because if he loses this game, they're going to fire him or they're going to want him gone. And then he might
True.
end up being the new head coach of Michigan. So who knows?
Very true. Very true.
They'll take him in a heartbeat. Miami's making a comeback. Only down 13 now.
Yeah, there's not enough time left.
Nah, I'm joking. He dropped the ball. Oh, well. That is it for us this week. I like how Jalen Ramsey is literally mocking him in the end zone. Did he get a flag for that? He did get a flag for that.
He
Taunting.
did.
That's hilarious. All he did was laugh. That's actually the funniest thing I think he's done all year. Because usually he's kind of a jerk about it, but the guy just dropped the ball. You should be able to laugh at somebody if they drop the ball in fairness. Just one sad Dolphins fan. Mm. Anyway, folks, that's it for us here at the Uptown Parlay Podcast. If you were tracking my best bets, I went for 4-1 this week. And I don't remember what Ant did, but I think he was actually pretty good at 3-2. He did go against me by taking the Bills and locking them in. I didn't lock them in pass, but I figured they were at home and they were getting points, so that was kind of great. And
Mm.
yeah, keep betting on the Bears and keep betting on San Francisco. And unless Seattle's going to be laying 13 points again, I would take. They keep finding a way to win.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Agreed. Agreed.
You know. But on that note, we out. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever y'all are celebrating out there.
Yeah, peace.
Good luck.
We'll be back. We'll be back for week 16, so right before the holiday. So
Oh no, this ain't it. I'm just saying that. I'm just gonna
yeah.
be saying that throughout the holiday.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh,
We out.
peace.
Peace.